Welcome to the Website Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping women in business make the most of the content they're already creating so they can get more traffic and sales through their website with less reliance on social media and paid ads. I'm Jules White, the founder of the Website Success Hub, and I love helping course creators, podcasters, and business owners make more money through their existing website. If you have a business you love, but you don't love the way your website performs, then this is the show for you. So I was talking to somebody this week in a networking party about the fact that, so we were talking about websites, as often comes up when I'm talking to people, and she said she hadn't got a website. But then when we looked at things, or when we talked a bit further, she said that she just had landing pages. And this happens quite a lot, that I talk to people quite a lot, and they will say that they haven't got websites, or then their website's neglected, but they pay attention to their landing pages. So I wanted to, and I've seen this a few times recently as well, where I see so many YouTube videos of you don't need a website, and I'll come back to that in a minute, realistically about that. But it's something that does seem to be there's a lot of conversation around that at the moment. So I want to start off by talking about what web pages are, what a website is, and what web pages are, and what a landing page is, essentially. So any pages on the internet are web pages. So essentially what they are is a page in a browser window that displays information. And that information might be styled, or it would be styled, so it looks a certain way. It will have certain functionality as well, so it behaves in a certain way. And it will contain media like images, text, sound, video. And if you think of this like the individual departments in a department store. So if you've got a department store, that's like the overall store. But within that, you'd have individual departments. Hi, Karen. And so think of that as web pages. So whether you call that a web page, a website, a landing page, a sales page, an opt-in page, a checkout page, a blog page, a podcast page, or even a board, as my dad calls web pages. So he'll say, I went on Sainsbury's board this morning and it was really slow. So we know what he means. Or, if you're calling them landing pages, essentially they are all just pages on the web. And a website is a collection of pages, and they're all under the same address. So think of that as the whole department store. You have that department store in a specific address. That's your domain. That is the website. And everything is under one address. And then within that, you have the individual web pages, which are the departments in the department store. And then search engines like Google are like the map that people can then find that store. And we can tell Google, with the way that we lay things out, what we're selling and the individual departments within that store. And I think it's good to understand the basics about how Google does that. So essentially what happens is Google's little robots go out and crawl the internet. Google's job is to work out when people are typing things into the search. Google's job is to work out of all of those web pages that are out there, which one delivers the best result for that person. So that's a mammoth job to do. And the way that Google does that is Google's little robots go out and they crawl the whole internet and they work out what information is on those pages and how that relates to what people are actually searching for, and whether that is trustworthy, authoritative, entertaining, and like relevant as well. So that's essentially how it works in terms of how Google then structures the library. So what then Google does once the bots have crawled through all those internet pages, it then places it into its index. And that's like a big library. So Google knows where your web pages fit into the library, essentially, and then it can pull those out when somebody is searching for that particular term. So I was thinking, maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to update the way that I talk about websites and web pages and landing pages and talk about things differently. If lots of people are not understanding that difference between them, and people are sort of starting more to talk about landing pages. So I thought, well, I'll do a little keyword research, because that's always a good way to start. With my clients, when I'm working with them, we'll always do some keyword research. That's like the fundamentals in terms of getting your website working for your business and getting your SEO in order. So I did a little keyword research around, I looked for how to create a web page and then how to create a landing page. Or I think I actually started off just putting in web page and landing page, and then that sort of took me down this route. So how to create a web page has 22,000 searches a month. How to create a landing page is 170. So there's definitely some difference there. A lot of people are still searching for how to create a web page. And then I looked, and actually how to create a website is also being treated along that. So it's got around the same amount of searches per month, which is usually an indication that Google's treating that as the same search term. So there are a lot more people searching for how to create a website versus how to create a landing page. But then I did a search around what is a landing page versus what is a web page. There are 6.6 thousand people searching each month for what is a landing page, and 480 people a month searching for what is a web page. So it's, interesting. I didn't search for what is a website, but actually that would be interesting as well to look at that. But it just shows that people are confused about this as well, I think. And a lot of people will say that. They'll say that they don't know, do I need landing pages, or do I need a website or web pages or whatever? And a lot of my clients will treat them as different things as well. So they'll have a website, often a basic website that they've not maybe done too much with. It might look beautiful, but it's not necessarily performing as they want it to. And there's so much untapped potential there, where they're then also using landing pages for their sales pages, but they've maybe got them on a different domain. So that can quite often happen with like ClickFunnels and FG Funnels and FBA Create, anything where you're using an all-in-one builder. It can often encourage you. And the same, even with, actually, Kajabi is slightly different from the way that they set it up. They do tend to keep it all on one domain. But just with those kind of builders, they often almost encourage you to use a subdomain for your sales pages. So you end up with, rather than it being like the website successhub.com/ Google Analytics, whatever, like my Google Analytics course page, it would be GA or Google Analytics dot the website successhub.com. So you'd use a subdomain essentially. We're getting a bit technical here, but not really. So it is where you're then basically not keeping all of your traffic within that one address. Hi, Lindsay. So within that, it's almost like having one of your department store departments in a building down the street, and nobody knows that it's there except for the people who just happen to stumble across it. And a lot of the time on our landing pages and on our sales pages, we have some really valuable information on there. We put a lot of effort into those pages around answering questions and objections and really thinking about the problem that we're solving. And if they're on another domain, there's some massively wasted opportunity for helping Google to understand that your business relates to this particular thing, and then building that and it's a two-way street as well. So not only then having some supporting articles on your website that then shows Google that this sales page, they know what they're talking about because they're also talking about a similar topic over here, or they're talking about something related over here, but also the other way around as well. So that sales page and that important information that's on that sales page, also they'll then helping to support the rest of your website and raising your authority of the rest of your website. So it's something that often, as I say, often comes up with clients where they're treating them as separate things and really missing out on those SEO opportunities there. So the other thing as well is if you have it on a separate domain, then you're missing out on some of the key. Google has certain things that it looks for, which are trust signals. And there are certain pages on a website, certain web pages on a website that Google looks for to understand that you're a legitimate business and that you are to be trusted. And if you haven't got those there, if your sales pages are just standalone individual pages, then that is also then harming your SEO, because Google is less likely to show those sales pages up if they're just individual pages without these sort of trust pages in place. So the pages that Google looks for is a home page, an about page, and a contact page. Those are ones that even if you've got sort of the basic setup on those pages, that can then help support your sales pages and help them to actually rank better on Google. So I would definitely, and then there's things like your privacy policy, your terms and conditions as well, that those pages that Google wouldn't necessarily be putting in its index and showing up on search results. But still, if those pages are there, it all helps Google to understand that you are a trustworthy site and that it should be sending its customers, who are the people that are doing the searching, that Google should send its customers to you, basically. So then the other thing with the sales pages is sometimes hi Silla, if you have sales pages, and we would often not have navigation on sales pages because we want to keep people on that page. We want them to take one particular action. But if we don't have any way for people to actually find those sales pages as well, then that can also harm our conversions and help and prevent us from making some sales, really. One of my, somebody I was talking to the other day, there was a course that I would have recommended to her. But because the website that it's on, the person who I bought this course from, doesn't have any easy links on their website to take you to this course, and it's just a short course, so it's one that it's the kind of thing where it's a no-brainer course. It's a low ticket sort of thing. But because there wasn't that navigation there, I couldn't then send that person to that page and say, "Oh, this is the course you need for that thing we were just talking about." And I still want to do that, but essentially all it's done is just given me another job to do of actually messaging that person and saying, "Oh, is there the link to this page?" And I Googled it to see if I could find it on Google, and I still couldn't find it. And it's just that extra step. If you've got to put anything else in people's way to make it harder for them to then share your content, it's something that just having that in your navigation menu can make a massive difference, really. So I guess that's all part of just thinking about the whole user experience of it being easy for people to actually find the stuff that you're selling and recommend you, as well as actually Google being able to find it as well. So having your top level navigation where at least you're linking to your sales pages from your main pages, from your homepage, is a bit of a no-brainer, really, because otherwise, if you're making it harder for people to find your content, then obviously it's then also going to be harder for Google to find your content. But most importantly, first and foremost, everything that we're doing is about the people that we're trying to help and trying to sell our stuff to, basically. So I also, the YouTube videos, so I've seen quite a few YouTube videos, hi Karen, where people, it's these things of why you don't need a website in 2024. I was watching one the other day and it made me laugh because they were essentially going into all the reasons. So they were talking about email marketing and they were building out an email funnel. And I can't even remember, I think they had like an opt-in page or something as well. And what they were essentially doing was building it out. I can't remember which platform it was. It might have been like MemberVault or Teachable or something like that, where you have the option of building a landing page within the platform. So they're saying why you don't need a website in 2024, and then explaining how you build a landing page, which is then just a web page. So it's kind of like you're saying that we don't need a website, but all we're essentially doing is just creating landing pages that then don't have that authority and trust. Whereas actually, if we just created a couple before we got to that point, create a couple of pages with a homepage, the about page, a contact page, just something very basic, then that can help to lift your all of your web pages, whether you call them individual web pages or think of them as a website or not. It can massively help with that, really, as well. So I would love to know what you think. Do you think of your website and your sales pages or your landing pages separately? Do you think of them as different things, as individual elements out there? Do you have them all under one domain, or do you have separate subdomains? And if you struggle with this and you just don't know what's the best way to do it, then book a power hour and we can have a chat and we can work out how to make the most of whatever you call them, make the most of the pages that you have out there on the internet. So I hope this has been helpful and I'll see you soon. Bye.